Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape! I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Real Chat Podcast presents the 100 Greatest Movies. Everybody, welcome to episode 74 of the Real Chat Podcast, a podcast that promises cinephiles, whether here or abroad, the real world as we know it. And welcome also to our new special, where we're attempting a departure from our regular format to recap in a little more detail movies 100 to 91 in our prestigious Top 100 Greatest Movies series. And to mark this special occasion, we also have an extended team for you today. My name is Adam Stolfo, and I'm joined here by fellow podcaster, Mr. Andrew McCaskill, or should I call you Macca?
I have many names, believe you. People like to call me many things.
So I think it has been mentioned on the show before, Andrew, but for the Real Chat listeners out there, our very own Andrew McCaskill has branched out with Real Chat's own Matt O'Neill into the podcast world.
The podcast baby.
With All You Need Is Love.
Yeah.
And it is something else, my friend, let me tell you.
Dropping everything for a promo for myself.
Absolutely, man. That's what we're all about
lovely.
here.
What can I say? It's not a very intellectual piece. If you're sick of being informed, if you're sick of being educated in some way by a podcast, then you come and see us. We'll treat you right. It
really is just you and Matt having a chat, isn't it?
It's pretty much just like whatever we.
If you guys were having a beer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you'd be chatting about.
If you were at a cafe sitting next to us and you were offended by someone's conversation, that's us. Yeah, indeed. That's the podcast.
Oh, but yeah, but
captured for your listening pleasure.
So for the Matt or Macca fans out there, definitely check it out. You're about 8 episodes in, yeah?
Yes. Tune in because number 9 is just around the corner. So,
mate, can't wait.
Look out.
Bated breath. That's
Thank
right.
you.
But joining us as well is the returning Penny Jolly. Penny, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. But welcome, Penny. Thank you very much. The returning Michael Hadjion is here as well. But mate, it's great to have you back on board.
It's good to be back once again. It's 2 podcasts in how many 6 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it's been. So
there was like years there between your last appearance. Returning as well, our special guest, Mr. Jesse O'Brien, a big, massive Real Chat fan, Jesse O'Brien. Also, I want to talk just a little bit, mate, about this new YouTube web series because you're a few episodes in. Is it 3 or 4?
I got 5. Got 6 coming on Monday.
Yeah, I've seen about 3 of them, and I'm enjoying the hell out of this shit. I'll tell you what, I really am.
Not enough to watch the other 2.
No, just not yet. Just not yet. Mate. Schedule, but it's fantastic. I mean, what sort of inspired this?
Well, as a filmmaker, you sort of wait years in between projects, and I was just this year. I was like, I have to create more this year. I have to do more, and I was watching a lot of YouTube in my downtime, and I'm like, I can do that. Like, just YouTubers make stuff and put it out there. They don't have to wait for funding. They don't have to wait for anybody's approval. They just do it. So I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to impart some of the knowledge and wisdom I've learned over my one film that I've made and see if it's useful for anybody out there. So I've been pointing the camera at myself alone in my living room and waiting until nobody's around and then pressing record.
The way they've been edited as well is very cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's very snappy. You get to the point and you're making your points and I'm really enjoying it, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
So, best of luck with that going forward as well. I just wanted to ask you guys just quickly, just offhand, and also maybe our fans out there in listening as well, have you guys been enjoying this iteration of Real Chat? I mean, like, we rebooted it, we restarted again. The feedback that I've received has been all positive, and that's really good because it's what keeps us all going, and definitely with the work that I'm putting into it. But you guys have been listening as well, so any thoughts on how the format is working with this Top 100 and everything? Has anyone got anything to?
Well, as a long time listener, I've been loving it. It's I've always enjoyed it. I think it's now having some more sort of distinct roles, as in sort of Penny talks about the screenplay. Obviously, Adam sort of talks about, I guess, all the sort of the main facts of the film and sort of keeps it flowing. Andrew talking about the soundtrack. It's more sort of sticking to a defined format, and I'm finding that really enjoyable. It sort of covers all aspects of the film that you might not get at other podcasts. So I've been loving it.
Yeah, it's really good, Michael. That's really good to hear. Yeah, definitely. Any of you other guys, just any general thoughts about how it's going?
Yeah, I just like that there's a goal for it. It's a long goal. It's going to take a while to get to all the 100 films, but I think it's a really great idea to have a vision for it and something to drive it all along.
Definitely. Very open-ended.
Yeah, I mean, you could choose all your favorite films and just talk about any film you want for years and years and years, but this is kind of encompassing that, but also taking the group out of their own comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And mixing genres, mixing periods of filmmaking. So it just allows you to kind of broaden your horizons a bit and see something you might never have seen otherwise.
And I noticed, Andrew,
like Titanic.
I noticed as well, Andrew, that you've been happy to come to every recording. Meaning that
not much else going on.
That's a good sign.
Because,
Thanks,
like, you know,
Andrew.
when we were looking at lesser received sequels in other movie series, I'm looking at Jurassic Park and Terminator here as well. I don't think you were interested at all in revisiting any of those movies.
Yeah, sequels don't really do it for me. They kind of they do my head in, and you know, there's so many. Like you would be here forever doing the sequels, and most of these sequels don't deserve the time that you give them. So
yeah. I mean, the old format, we used to make a point of looking at all entries of a franchise.
Yes.
And because the thing is, Andrew, is that a lot of the most entertaining episodes were ones where we just ripped the shit out of something. You know what I mean? Like some of these terrible sequels. It's actually quite entertaining.
Yeah.
And then when the episodes were edited together, there was something there. Like they were very entertaining to listen to. It's almost like if you hate it, you listen to this and you just get that opinion reinforced.
Sure.
You know, so, but there's not going to be anywhere near as many of them in this top 100, obviously. You know what I mean? So, and Penny, anything that you can add there, or?
I give this podcast 5 out of 5.
Hey,
Yeah, straight out of the gate.
Highly recommended.
No, it's actually really a joy to be here and actually go further into the films that we're actually looking at and really look at it with a critical eye or a cynical eye in some respects. And yeah, I think with Andrew as well, it's sort of really nice to not just sort of kind of go on one film and then continue the franchise. And as Jesse said, it's just nice to kind of look at that entire format of where would I put this film in the top 100, or does it belong in the top 100? And yeah, just really sort of honing down into the craft of the screenplay as well.
We have got our first crossover coming up in the next couple of months, guys, with a show in the UK called the Arnithology, in which these two guys from the UK, Ben and Alex, have a look at the filmography of an actor. And they started with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is what got me in. You know what I mean? Like that's what pulled me in to have a listen to them. And they're really entertaining. And they're going to be phoning in from the UK on Predator, which is, spoiler, coming up in the top 100 very shortly. Michael, can't wait. Has been waiting years for this film.
Spoiler, I'm going to give it 5 stars.
I don't think you'll be the only one. But me and Ben from that podcast have been interacting recently, and he said that he's been enjoying Real Chat's resurgence, but he thinks that we're all quite harsh markers. Because I think he was a big fan of a film like Arrival, for example, where we all liked it, but it was middle of the road, right? But I think a lot of people have been putting it much, much higher than we did. And that was just one of the comments that he wrote to me. He goes, like, you guys can be harsh.
Yeah.
And,
I'd agree with that.
I think it's good to be critical, and we're backing it up. We're not just sort of saying, oh, it's rubbish. We're actually sort of having a
there's
really
a reason
think
why.
about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and just quickly, guys, listeners too, please email us or contact us through our social media channels and let us know what you think of the format since our return. Like Real Chat guest and fan Damon Qua, a mate of Michael and myself, he's actually been watching and reliving these movies along with us. So I'd like to know if any of our listeners out there has been doing the same, because that's a big compliment to us if that's what people have been doing, revisiting along with us. So just quickly, guys, before we get into our own discussion on the top 100, I just want to talk just a little bit about the 2018 Oscars, because we didn't have a special this year. So it was also the 90th Academy Awards, it was as well, hosted by Jimmy Kimmel again. I like Jimmy Kimmel. I could be quite hot and cold on talk show hosts. Like there's the shows I would watch based on the host, So this is his second one. Did all of you watch the Oscars?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Michael.
Not so much.
Yeah, but that was my fault in the end, wasn't it?
You stood me up.
Yeah, I stood him up. Yeah,
That's all good.
But did you guys? Do you have any initial thoughts on the presentation itself?
Yeah, I watch it every year. Try to make a thing of it. Last year I did a big party with a lot of my friends.
You always do this, don't you?
Well, I often do it with my dad at his place because he loves it as well. Last year I did it on my own and brought all my friends to my flat. Spent $200 on snacks and everyone came, and no one cares as much as
What kind of snacks were they?
the snacks that people didn't eat. So they didn't eat them.
Missed opportunity. You should have invited me.
Did you have oysters Kilpatrick? And
No, but I bought I bought specific beers that looked gold, like the Oscar statues. And I just went way too far with it because everyone was like, "Oh, this is fun," but no one cares as much as me. So this year I just watched it quietly. But I always make a point to watch all 10 nominees or however many there are.
So when I speak to practically anybody, everyone really just flogs it off these days. As in, like, I don't watch it. It's a waste of time. I don't really care. I might check to see who wins. And that's about it.
I get why.
Yeah. But what keeps you there? Is it just the world of movies and...
Yeah.
yeah,
For me, it's my sport. I don't really follow sports,
Okay.
so it's just it's the culmination of everything I've done throughout the year to watch these films and read about them. And it's just if a movie wins Best Picture, it doesn't mean it's the best movie that year, but it's still interesting to see where the culture's sort of looking at it.
the politics play a big part now as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people don't feel the same way as they did maybe 20 years ago, where it almost felt like people, you know, that they backed what the Academy members were doing. Now it seems that there's a real stigma around the whole like, oh, it's all political.
I think it shouldn't be though, because people blame the Academy like, oh, it's a room of old white guys who are voting, but it's not. It's thousands and thousands of members who are all part of the film industry, of all, you know, races, ages, colors. But you know, there's a wide range of people voting on this stuff, and it's not this biased one voice that's choosing, you know, Shape of Water is better than any other film. It is quite broad. So I like to try to be less cynical about it.
But I think that also learning as well about how Academy members can be swayed as well. I think there's new.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like if a particular filmmaker or actor or something rubs an Academy member the wrong way, whether it's politically or whatever, really, they can not vote based on that. I think that makes sort of people sort of go, oh, you know, are we getting a real biased look here at these movies? You know what I mean? I just wanted to quickly touch upon just some of the main awards. So not all of them. That's what we would do if we were looking at it in detail. But just quickly, yeah. So the best supporting actor was won by Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Who's seen that film here?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you? Who liked or disliked the film?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very, very strong film, and I love Sam Rockwell.
I know you do.
So I was very happy with that.
Oh, he was so deserving.
Yeah,
of this role,
absolutely.
particularly.
Yeah. It's quite an amazing film.
Andrew, you had a slightly different opinion of the movie. Maybe not Sam Rockwell.
I loved seeing Sam Rockwell win
Yeah.
an Oscar. I can happily see that happen every year because he's one of those hardworking actors who's never really got his acclaim. So yeah, very happy for him. And I think he did a great job with the film. I think that, you know, he made his character work. But yeah, I really thought the film was pretty flawed, and I didn't understand all the praise. And
Yeah, I really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because like Jesse, I did a big binge on like most of these films, and some of them always stand out. And I remember seeing this one quite early on in the list as well. So I don't know, maybe it was just the right thing to see at the right time. But Rockwell was very well deserving of this award. He was up against William Dafoe, Woody Harrelson, Richard Jenkins, and Christopher Plummer. I think that he was always going to win. I don't think there was any surprise there based on that performance, you know. And I know you didn't see the movie, Michael, but you'd be a Rockwell fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Moon, I absolutely love Moon. And yeah, he's a great actor.
Can I just ask, if you were doing Moon on Real Chat with us, what would you have given that film?
At least 4.5.
Yeah, me too.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Best Supporting Actress was also very well deserving. It went to Alison Janney for I, Tonya.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always going to win this. She was up against Mary J. Blige, Leslie Manville, Laurie Metcalf, and Octavia Spencer. But she was definitely the standout. Did everyone see I, Tonya?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
Very surprised that wasn't in the Best Picture nominees list.
Yeah.
It wasn't, was it?
No.
Yeah, it was because it was probably better than some of the movies that were there.
I think so. Yeah. for
Yeah.
sure.
That's where I think it gets political. Like, it's just like, how can he be nominating this particular performance but not the entire film?
Especially because they can nominate 10 Best Picture nominees, but
That's
they
right.
chose particularly not to include one more.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that was it.
And well, yeah, it would have. I think
Yeah.
it would have been, but it's interesting. I wonder why that got dropped off.
Kneecapped.
Yes.
It's amazing because there's always some kind of like scandal that's announced during the week of the Oscars. Like some movies got some dodgy funding from somewhere, or someone, I don't know, someone slept with someone, or some seedy bit of information comes out about a film and it tarnishes that film.
Just before Oscars.
Just before that, and it just affects their results. It's just
like
what?
James Franco won the Golden Globe for Best Actor for Disaster Artist,
Yeah.
but he was not mentioned for the Oscars because just after that,
Yes.
there was a bit of a scandal with him flirting with a 17-year-old.
And like, will we ever hear or see from him again? It seems like he's literally been banished,
Yeah.
unspokenly banised now for that accusation.
Another person who didn't turn up to the Oscars was
Harvey Weinstein. I just go, why would? I mean, you've been in the industry for so many years.
Casey Affleck.
Yeah, I
Because
noted his
normally,
absence as
because he
well.
won the Oscar last year for what film was that again?
Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester by the Sea. And normally they come back to give the award to the next actor winner, don't
I
they?
think they do it for the Best Actress.
Actress.
because-
Okay.
Yeah.
So another big omission because someone else did the presenting for that.
Yeah,
didn't
it was
they? So-
two. It was two women,
Jodie Foster and
Yes.
and Jennifer Lawrence.
yeah,
So two outspoken women who aren't afraid to speak politics
Oh,
came
yeah.
out and presented instead of Casey Affleck. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, it was nice, but they didn't really do anything with it. I mean, it was
No.
good to see them, but
The whole
yeah,
ceremony was pretty pretty
Yeah, I
safe.
didn't really like this ceremony that much at all. I think that there were bits that were definitely overplayed and took up too much time.
But everyone agrees that Alison Janney was the, like the standout amongst the...
She's like
Yeah.
best actress.
Yeah,
just
she was so good.
above and beyond.
Yeah.
Although I really did enjoy Laurie Metcalf's performance in,
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
Lady
definitely.
Bird. Yeah.
Oh, I thought all the
Two
nominations
similar
were good.
roles as well. Like that was the year that Laurie Metcalf probably wishes she wasn't nominated for that
That's
role
right,
because
yeah,
it's so
poor
similar,
timing.
like a sort of difficult mother role, but you couldn't win against
No
Alison this
bird.
year. Yeah, needed a
Oh,
bird.
Lady Bird, but
Birdless performance.
it's very confusing.
Did you like Alison Janney in I, Tonya, Michael?
Yeah, it was a powerhouse performance.
Oh,
It was, it was the film. Like,
Definitely.
it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Best actor went to Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. He was playing Winston Churchill. This is actually one that I didn't see, Jesse. So maybe you can... I knew he was going to win because I'd heard so much good stuff about his performance. And I'm so glad that film won the makeup award as well, just quietly.
Yeah, yeah. Although Shape of Water was not nominated for makeup. That was very odd because that whole performance is makeup.
Yeah, you're right.
But Gary Oldman under that makeup was impossible to see the seams in that. It was crazy.
We don't really know if the Fishman actually looked like that though, whereas Churchill, brilliant representation.
I thought Daniel Kaluuya, I think that's how you pronounce his name, from Get Out. So I thought he was really, really good in that film as well. But I'm biased towards Get Out. No surprise to all you guys. That was my favourite film of last year. So we'll talk about the award it got in a second. But I thought he was very deserving of that nomination as well, along with the others. Best Actress went to... Frances McDormand from 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. No surprise here either, was there? She was always going to win this. It was a very powerhouse performance. I don't think I ever got your thoughts on her, Andrew, in the movie.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if she was not in that film, no one would be talking about it, I don't think. It would have been like one of those little films that would have come out and disappeared, I reckon. She makes that film.
Yeah, she absolutely took over.
Yeah.
When you have a role that you can't visualize another actor or actress playing...
I mean, and it's such a difficult role. Like, again, I mean, I have my problems with it, and I think that the character has motivations and makes decisions that don't make sense, but she makes it totally believable. Like, that's a great actress.
Mm-hmm.
And, she was up against Sally Hawkins, Margot Robbie, Meryl Streep, and... Saoirse Ronan. Yeah. So, none of them were ever going to win, unfortunately.
Although-
Not even Australia's own Margot Robbie.
She was amazing though. Margot
She was
Robbie
great.
in
Agreed.
Tonya.
Yeah.
It was a great year.
Yeah. Quickly, the 2 Penny Jelly Awards, as I'm going to name them. Best Adapted Screenplay.
What an honour. I love this.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very
Pins
much.
after you as well.
Call Me By Your Name was the winner. James Ivory, based on the novel by Andre Ackerman.
That's right.
Yes.
I loved that film.
Yeah?
I thought it was beautiful.
Yep.
He's actually coming out to the Wheeler Centre later this year.
Oh, you're going to go say hello?
go to the event and actually
Nice.
say good day. I think that's quite amazing. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that film. And I think it came at a particularly excellent time and got really well received. Like I'm surprised that it had representation at the Oscars. So really, really happy with that.
I'm not surprised. It's always one of these films. Is it indie? Is it indie?
Let's call it indie.
Yeah, it felt like an indie.
It's definitely not a Hollywood film.
Jesse,
It's got a foreign language in it. Put it that way.
Indeed.
And I thought it was beautiful. I had some problems with it, but I thought it was
Agreed.
yeah. It was an interesting film to watch. It was hard to watch at
It
times.
was.
But a beautiful movie. Maybe you really want to go to Italy and stay in it.
Are you speaking of a particular scene in?
Yeah, I won't be eating a peach for a while.
Yeah.
Michael, I know you haven't
think
seen
the
this,
Astor
but
should do
just think American Pie.
All right,
So
yep.
anyway,
I'm with you now.
I would like to see the Astor do a double feature of Call Me By Your Name and James and the Giant Peach.
oh, that is awesome. Andrew, as well, this film, Call Me By Your Name, you were a fan, weren't you?
Yeah, look, I thought it was really. The word is beautiful. Like it looks beautiful, and it's just the lifestyle and just the elegance of the filmmaking. It's certainly one of the most cinematic films of the year. I thought it was a strong film, but and it should be nominated. But yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites of the year.
Can I add something about that film?
Yeah.
Because I liked the film a lot, had problems, but in the end, there's this 5-minute monologue that was just beautiful. It was one of the best written things I've seen in years.
Yeah.
That monologue where he reveals, I won't say anything about the story, but it was just a really touching piece of sort of humanity.
And I think that's what a lot of people are saying about that film, because it is beautiful. It's sparse. It's kind of, there's a bit of a weird sort of scene in there with the peach, but I think that is absolutely one of the saving scenes of the film. And so dialogue driven. It's quite interesting to sort of put that, sort of pitch that against such a beautiful expanse of such beauty of countryside of that film.
Yeah.
It's such a European film in every sense of the way. Like it stands out from all the very polished popcorn Hollywood films. It's nice to see that nominated.
And Best Original Screenplay, Penny. This was my favourite. This made my night. However I felt about the Academy Awards, Get Out winning Best Original Screenplay was, it just made me... I was feeling like the audience were. You know how the audience were loving it for Jordan Peele?
Yes.
Like, yeah. I was feeling exactly the same.
Such a delight.
Because I love this film. I think it's one of the best horror films I've seen in a really long time as well. You know? So, Jordan Peele for Get Out, and The Big Sick, Lady Bird, Shape of Water, and Three Billboards were nominated as well. But so I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I guess one of the pleasant surprises of the night.
Very strong contenders in that field as well. And I was really happy with that as well, because it wasn't really nominated in a lot of other categories. So, and for me, The Height of Heights is best screenplay. So I was very happy with that.
You think it was well deserving, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just great to see a movie like that, a horror film essentially, make it to that level of acclaim. You don't see that very often at all.
No,
so incredible thing.
Yeah.
Totally original concept too. Like just so fresh.
Seems rare and rarer these days sometimes, doesn't it?
It's stood out a mile, really.
The 2 Andrew McCaskill Awards, Best Cinematography. It was great to see this guy finally win after such a long time. Roger Deakins for Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, that was the highlight for me. The whole show was just seeing him holding that thing, that bloody statue.
Because this one wasn't a sure thing against Darkest Hour and Dunkirk, Mudbound, and Shape of Water.
No, that's true.
Some of those films are exceptionally well shot. Dunkirk and Shape of Water jumps out for me. So, but Blade Runner looked incredible.
I was quietly confident because that film is ridiculously beautiful.
Yes.
It's just stunning. One of the most stunning films.
It's a shame that you can't say that about the movie as a whole. It's it's no... it can't be, but it's no Blade Runner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like it was a respectful sequel, definitely.
Yeah. Did anyone else see Blade Runner 2049?
Yep.
No.
You haven't seen it yet, Michael?
No.
Yeah, I think you will at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
There could have been another in the top 10 in the 10 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, so you liked
have
it?
been in there. It was great. Yeah.
Really?
I didn't think it was 100% amazing, but it was a very, very
it
strong
wasn't
film.
amazing.
No, but it was very strong.
Yeah, I think everyone can agree that visually it was something.
I think
else.
it looked amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was a retrospective win for him as well.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
sure,
because
yeah.
it was
Win,
a great example of the Oscar machine working well, because Roger Deakins is definitely deserving of that role, and that was my favorite part of the night too. There were so many articles this year from the press about why he deserves to win, and I think that media push got him the Oscar in the end. I'm glad it did.
The best original score as well, Andrew, went to Alexandra Desplat for The Shape of Water.
Display. I've been around France a little bit,
Were you happy with this one?
Well, I've seen 15, 20 minutes of that film, and from what I heard of it, it was it was a very appropriate film. It had that touch of the Amelie accordion quirks.
I was about to say that. It was very reminiscent of the Amelie soundtrack.
I actually thought Carter Burwell's score for Three Billboards was probably my favourite of the bunch. I thought that was quite an interesting score, and it kind of matched the tone well. So
what was going on with Star Wars: The Last Jedi getting a nomination? How many of John Williams' Star Wars scores have been nominated?
It's insane that I don't know what the exact number is, but he's had 60 or something nominations.
No, but his Star Wars film.
Oh, his Star Wars ones. Probably it's just a default, really. I mean,
it was a better film than The Phantom Menace, but The Phantom Menace had a better score than this one.
But I think it's just legendary status, isn't it? It's just like
it's just got to that.
John Williams is you just nominate the man because what he's done for what he's done.
And then Hans Zimmer just did standard Hans Zimmer on Dunkirk as well. So
lots of noises. Little light kind of tinkering.
I think that Alexandra Desplat's The Shape of Water was always going to win. I think it has quite a
charming score.
For about 10 minutes of that film, you think, is this set in France? And then you realize it's Baltimore. Doesn't sound like Baltimore.
They love the accordion down there.
Del Toro gave him quite a bit of freedom to create that sound then, didn't he? Yeah. The Jesse O'Brien Awards up next. Best Director. We just spoke of the man.
I'll take it.
Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. Do you think that this was a, it was always, I felt like that this felt the way it was going to go,
It did. It was a bit of an obvious choice. I liked The Shape of Water a lot. It was definitely a strong vision.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really leaning towards any one film for the top prize or for the best director this year.
Yeah.
I kind of, at the end of the night, I would have thought it would have been more fun if Jordan Peele got it.
Yeah, well, of course.
It just would have been
Yeah.
a huge turnaround, and it would have been great.
There was Nolan wasn't any chance. I mean, I'm sure he did a great job on Dunkirk, but this was not going to be the Nolan film that was going to get him a best director.
I
Oscar.
hoped it wasn't, because it wasn't my favorite of his films.
No, definitely not.
And I thought it was a little overly praised.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
It really went quietly into the night, that film, during the Oscars. Like, I haven't seen it, so I'm just going off word of mouth, but it was barely mentioned.
Surprised you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Did you avoid it?
I don't know. I just wasn't really interested in seeing another war film. It's just
Because one of your favorite films is The Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
And obviously Saving Private Ryan is great as well from that same year. But people are saying Dunkirk is the greatest film since those films. And to me, it was just no comparison. There was no heart in it.
Michael, did you see Dunkirk?
No, I didn't.
No, yeah. I liked it. If I was doing it on our show, I'd probably give it 3 or 3.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was good, but Nolan's done a lot better.
Yeah.
Work. The Prestige was better than Dunkirk, for example, the one that we looked at recently. So and the last one, of course, is Best Picture, which went to The Shape of Water as well. The other films were Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. God, The Post, that was tough. That was a really tough watch. That bored me.
Okay.
Did you see
You
it?
liked it?
Yeah, because I'm a massive Spielberg fan. And
Well, this doesn't feel like that much of a Spielberg film.
it's funny you say that, because I've been really disappointed with his last probably 4 or 5 or 6 films.
Yeah.
And Ready Player One doesn't look like it's going to be much better.
Okay.
But The Post for me was really... I liked how it was restrained, but it wasn't dull like Bridge of Spies or Warhorse or even Lincoln at times. It was Meryl Streep for me. Like this year, she was such an obvious choice for another Oscar.
Yeah.
But she was really, really good. I really liked her character journey in that film. And for some reason, I just thought it just showed again, like Spielberg didn't try very hard with it. He was very comfortable doing The Post.
Yeah.
But it just showcased what a great, simple storyteller he is.
Yeah, Shape of Water, but really, was it the standout? Who knows? And Andrew wouldn't agree.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen 20 minutes of it, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. But I didn't. It just didn't engage with me. I found that the tone was uneven, and it was whimsical, and it was dark, and it was like...
You've done that more than most people I know. You've seen the odd film for 15 or 20 minutes, decided it's not for you, and actually walked away. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a reason for that. It's when you don't pay for it.
He's just fickle. You're fickle.
There is that too.
Yeah.
There's always that.
I just want to quickly ask, has anybody ever done that at the cinema, like ever?
No, not me. No. Once you bought that ticket, I'm invested.
I know that I've wanted to do it numerous times, but I've always stuck around to the end because I've always wanted to have a proper opinion on the movie.
Yeah.
So when you stay to the end, you can at least sort of go, like, as a whole, I didn't like it.
Be part of the
like,
conversation.
Yeah. But
I've walked out of one,
What
but
was
years
it?
and years and years ago. I think it was called Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And I was just...
With Michael Rooker?
Yeah. Amazing performances, but it was actually so well done that it actually really freaked me out. And the friend that I was seeing it with had already walked out, and I was just like, I can't watch this either.
Who saw the film Mother last year?
Yes.
I was so close to walking out of that.
Oh, really?
Right.
I want to see
Really?
that.
Did you like it?
I enjoyed it.
So did
Yeah.
I.
Okay.
Right? 5 women left the cinema.
Yeah, I saw people leaving.
I saw it at the Westgarth. So if anyone's been to the Westgarth down here in Northcote, Thornbury area, it's not that big. And 5 women in the small audience.
At once? Or you just
around
watching
the same
one,
scene. Around the
two?
same scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was
I've yet to
involving
see
a baby.
it. Okay.
Oh, that's right towards the end, though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But they still left. Like, as in,
They were
like,
so close to the end.
they didn't know that, obviously.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It would tip a
but-
few people over the edge, I reckon. don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen this happen in such a long time because I thought that we were like past that part of cinema. But it was something else, let me tell you. It was just to see it because I was enjoying it like at that moment because I guess I was in the right frame of mind for what that film was doing. But I haven't seen a film offend people in an audience for such a long time. It was really, it was something else.
I mean, he can push buttons, that guy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I was glad it wasn't on this Oscars list. That's for sure. It was my least favorite theatrical experience this year.
Yeah, I can understand
By far.
why. It's not for everybody, but it's interesting that, Andrew and I really enjoyed it. But, a lot of people obviously didn't,
Oh, yeah. It divided a lot of people.
Yeah.
Can I ask, has anyone seen Phantom Thread?
Yeah.
And what did you think of that?
Second least favorite experience at the movies this year. My
Okay. Really?
absolute bottom of my list of the Best Picture nominees.
Right.
And this was the swan song for Daniel Day-Lewis, yeah?
He says.
Well, that's what he says.
So and it was just,
He's like
why was
retiring.
that?
Why didn't I like it?
Yeah.
Like Aronofsky's Mother, it felt like Paul Thomas Anderson was... They're stuck in this zone where they're like, I've got to be an auteur. I've got to do this, my vision, this creative vision. I just felt like they were really trying hard to create something really unique and for me, it felt a little false. I felt that the drawn out nature of Phantom Thread was just too much for me. It was trying to be too weird. And then in the end, what the characters did was just so off-putting. That's the thing, the likability of these characters. I know your characters don't always have to be likable, but they always have to be interesting.
Yeah.
And in both films, the characters were so unlikable, hard to watch, and just why are they worth showcasing for 2 hours? Like, why are these characters interesting enough for my time?
It's hard to believe it's the same guy who made Boogie Nights, isn't it?
Boogie Nights for me is his absolute best film. But I've struggled with some of his work. I struggled with some of his.
He's patchy. He goes all over the shop, doesn't he?
For sure.
So just quickly, guys, the final tally there. The Shape of Water won 4. Dunkirk won 3. Mainly technical awards, wasn't it? Like it won the 2 sound awards.
Sound editing and sound mixing.
Which is
combine
bizarre
those.
but exactly the same 5 films for both nominations.
Because they don't know what
awards.
they are. They don't know what these things mean. They just keep doing them. They need to rename sound editing to sound design.
Okay.
Because that's what it means.
Yeah.
And mixing is the overall.
Blade Runner 2049 won 2, and so did Coco, Darkest Hour, and 3 Billboards. Yeah, they were the films that won multiple awards. So it was kind of spread around, wasn't it? The nominated films got at least 1 Oscar. Most of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Can I add that what I was very happy to see brought back was the montages, the old school montages they used to do.
Yeah.
Love those. Like, they haven't done this for years, and like there was, because they had a very loose theme. Was it magic or something, or dreams or something was the theme for this Oscars, and it was all woven through those montages, and that was great for me. I took me back to being 12 years old. I was just like, bring that stuff back.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Oscars is about.
Bring
celebrating
back the joy. Like it sort of felt like it's become very sort of rote. And I agree with you, Andrew. Like that joy like, I want to see that film. Oh my God, that film was amazing. Oh my God, that performance. It's just, I think it
celebrates the art form.
Indeed.
Which is what it's all about.
So let's move across from the Oscars to our top 100 list, particularly the movies ranked 100 to 91, because that's where we're at in the list here, guys. So the quick recap. 100 was Stand By Me, 99 was Raging Bull, 98 was Amelie, 97 was Titanic, 96 was Good Will Hunting, 95 was Arrival, 94 was Lost in Translation, 93 was The Princess Bride, 92 was The Terminator, and 91 was The Prestige. So what I need you guys to do for us is start from 10 and in traditional Real Chat fashion work backwards with your personal ranking of these 10 films. So everyone gets an idea of where you position these 10 in relation to each other. Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Miss Penny Jelly.
Okay, firstly, I'd like to say sorry because I know it is your birthday, but I'm going to put Titanic.
You're not the only one to do this to me, okay? So I'm prepared. I'm ready
sorry.
to go.
That's rough, Penny. That's really rough.
I know, I'm really sorry.
Give the guy a break.
It's my favourite film of all time in 2 halves.
Yes, I know.
And this was actually quite tough because it comes down to personal preference, whether it's, is it about the screenplay? Is it about the overall feel? Can I go back and watch this film a number of times? So without over-analysing it too much, my list goes Titanic, Raging Bull, Amelie, Arrival, The Prestige, Stand By Me, Lost in Translation, The Princess Bride, The Terminator, Good Will Hunting.
There you go. I knew Good Will Hunting was going to be up there.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really nice to see The Terminator so high as well. But,
I've got reasons for that as well. But I think sort of going back in and watching those films a number of times, or just going back in and sort of finding a delight in them. Yeah. For me, the outlier was Amelie. I thought that would be closer to the number 1 spot prior to coming onto this podcast. But then I think as we revealed in that particular chat, it was just like, wasn't as good as I remembered, and thus didn't really enjoy The Shape of Water.
Right. So this is how I'm going to get one back on her just quickly as well. So do you realize, because doing the research, do you realize that you gave, even though you've ranked Titanic 10, do you realize that you gave it a higher score than you gave Arrival, which you've put higher on the list?
I knew you'd do this. I absolutely, and I was just like, I don't know what I've rated these, but I knew that you'd have a list of this.
It's fine. I love it because that's going to happen, because when you're going to put them into a list, you're going to go, which one would you watch more than the other one? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that does happen. But
there's a lot of contradictions once you go through this process of allocating stars to things.
Because Raging Bull as well, you gave the same score as you gave Titanic. So
that's right.
Yeah,
and it's hard. Like, and it's only out of 5. I mean, if it was out of 10, there's a bit more scope in that. But sort of when it's a strange kind of little list.
So just quickly as well, the top 3 again. It was
Princess Bride, Terminator, and Good Will Hunting.
So that was the number 1, Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
So that's your favourite one that we've looked at so far.
Yeah,
favorite movie.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes.
Good stuff. Now, before we move on to the next person, Penny, the one film on the top 10 that you weren't able to be part of was The Princess Bride. If you had a quick chance just to because I know you watched the film in preparation for that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a couple of words on that film and what you would rank it.
Yeah, I love that film. I love where it came from. I love that it's an absolute go-to. I love the fairy tale quality. I love the performances. I love that you've got such great, like, zinging one-liners. It takes you back to a magical time. It's absolutely, I can sit down and rewatch that film over and over and over again and then kind of go, oh, that's right, that bit happens. And it's not as prescribed as watching, like, let's say The Terminator, where I can kind of like sort of match it out in my head. Whereas, yeah, Princess Bride, it's just a pure delight. And I'm really sorry I couldn't be on that podcast because I actually listened along and was kind of agreeing with all the points and kind of speaking out loud.
Yeah,
So
that was just me, Matt, and Andrew that day. So we all had to lift our game a little bit that day, but in your absence.
Well, you did well.
So if you were, what was your score again for Princess Bride?
Oh, in my list,
Yes.
I've got it as the third place,
Yes.
just above Terminator, and that was actually a bit of a weird spot for me. But I think that you gave me another challenge as well, which I believe we'll talk about.
Yes, we will. Yes. So, but the Princess Bride got what out of 5? Sorry,
I would give that 4 to 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, there you go. It's very highly recommended.
Yeah,
there.
it's one of those ones that you can just put on, enjoy, and kind of riff with your friends about as well.
Yes, definitely. So from Penny, we move across to the man himself, Mr. Andrew McCaskill. Would you like to give us your ranking, sir, of the first 10 films that we've looked
my
at?
notes here. Yes, all right. So basically my context was, what would I rewatch?
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
How over the other ones, what's more watchable? Arrival is last. At number 10.
Wow.
Amelie would
no
be
surprise.
on the coattails of Arrival.
Which you gave a lower score than Arrival.
Did I?
Yes.
I'll take your word for that.
Yep.
Titanic would be next.
Yes. That's not surprising, yeah.
And Princess Bride.
Yep.
Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The Prestige.
Yep.
Stand By Me. Raging Bull. Lost in Translation. Terminator.
Oh, my God. I'm loving it. I'm really happy with where people are placing the Terminator at the moment. Very happy with that. I know that we'll be reading Matt O'Neill's out shortly as well, and he surprised me as well. So,
I think when you haven't seen a film for a while and you get to fall in love with it again and realize why it's held up so high, and that was for me Terminator. I just think it's such a classic.
Because you gave Lost in Translation, you had second on the list there, and you also gave that 5 stars. So
I love that film. I would always watch that like a couple of times a year, I reckon. So.
The only film, Andrew, that you missed on the first 10 was Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
A couple of thoughts on that film and how you would rank that one.
Yeah, I don't think that would go into the greatest 100 list.
That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I just can't see it there. But I mean,
It is there.
Not looking hard enough.
You can't deny it. It is there. I'm not taking this personally, by the way.
That's true. That's true. But I'm still not seeing it. I think it's a great film, and I do enjoy seeing that every now and again. But yeah, it's not one of those ones that I would rewatch often.
Yeah.
But yeah, always a very powerful film, and I love the chemistry between Robin Williams and Matt Damon. And do you want my review of that?
Yeah, just quickly, what would you give that?
I'd probably give that a 3 out of
3 stars. Okay, so that's easily the lowest of our team for that film, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, Pan.
No problem. We'll take this outside later.
I think the discussion of that enriched it a little bit for all of us. And because I remember thinking the same, and kind of after talking about it for 2 hours, elevated my score a little bit.
I think Damon Quah just elevated it for all of us.
Yeah, he loved it.
Because he loves that film. Yeah. So, you'd recommend Good Will Hunting?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
Mr. Michael Hadjion, the man himself.
Yeah.
You're next up, mate.
So I guess firstly, just a bit of context. I guess the core team members here have recently watched these films, so they're very fresh in your memories. Some of these films, I have seen all the films, 91 to 100, but for several of them, it might have been 12, 15 years since I've seen them. So I guess I'm not reviewing them, looking at it critically as a mature adult, or in my case, a very immature adult. I'm reviewing them based on, I guess, the way they made me feel when I was a child and when I was a teenager, and I guess how they've, been formative in my appreciation of film and sort of where they stand over the test of time. So I would rank them, position 10 would be Arrival, which is probably one of the more recent ones I've seen.
Yep.
Not a bad film, but just, I think it would sit, 10th, compared to the other films that we're comparing it against.
Would you give it, like most of us did, like just an even 3 stars?
I think so.
Yeah.
to admit I saw it on a very small screen on an airplane, so probably not the best way to see this particular very visual film.
It seems to be like the lowest ranked position to watch a film. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you watch it on a plane, that's...
And I hear the sound was quite stunning as well, and I just wasn't getting
yes. You didn't get any of that?
Do you think one of the alien ships is just like a passion fruit seed that had gone on from the dessert on the screen somehow?
Yeah. All I could hear was his chirping canary, and I think there's got to be more to it than this. Wasn't getting that big booming bass that I imagined the ships would have been emitting, so I think it probably deserves a rewatch. So anyway, I'll put it 10 on the list. 9th would be Good Will Hunting. 8th would be Lost in Translation. 7th, Raging Bull.
Yep.
6th would be Amelie. 5th would be Titanic. 4th, The Prestige. 3rd, Stand By Me. 2nd, The Princess Bride. And 1st had to be The Terminator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse. People hold in higher regard than I thought. I'm rapt about this, guys. It's all,
no, it was always going to be first in that group of films.
The only 2 films, Michael, that we actually got a proper review from you was The Terminator and The Prestige, because you've been on those 2 Real Chat episodes and you gave them both 4 stars. So, yeah, very good. But no, it's not that many surprises. You did have Amelie up a lot higher than a lot of us did.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it was interesting listening to both the Amelie and the Good Will Hunting discussions, because they were kind of, when I reflect back on those films, I haven't seen either of them in a very long time. I loved Amelie when it came out. I loved stylistically what it was like. I think it's actually shaped other films, like even The Shape of Water. I think was the opening of that was very inspired by Amelie. I saw that through the film and through the soundtrack. I really enjoyed that film when it came out. But I'm always scared to watch it again.
I think you're actually in a privileged position, because my estimation of it went down after doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So thanks, Adam.
And I kind of
enjoy the memory of Amelie. It's actually
I'm almost
just
going to keep it locked away in my memory now and not watch it again.
Some feedback I got was that, like, thank God Penny Jelly was there. That's what I got as well.
I was lifting it, I still I still have a heartstring for it. It's just that I was like, it's just sort of I don't know. Watching it now, it's just lost in time a little bit.
It's a credit to you that you weren't persuaded by me, Matt, and Andrew that strongly that day.
I'm a strong, independent woman.
And, and on the flip side, Good Will Hunting is just not a film I've really enjoyed. Again,
how many times have you seen it?
I think maybe once, twice at the most, probably once only in full.
It's interesting.
And not for quite a long time. And I never bought it. I never believed the character. And because I couldn't buy into Matt Damon's character, I just didn't like the film. It just wasn't believable to me. So
it's not your fault.
No, it's thanks. It's not your fault.
No, it's not your fault.
All right, let's hug it out.
That's good stuff, Michael. Thanks for doing that list for us. Jesse O'Brien, it's your turn, my friend.
This was an interesting list. To see the top 100 at first, I was baffled by some of it. And some of these choices are a bit odd. So I tried to structure my preferred list around things that, like Arrival, for example, is not Denis Villeneuve's best film, however you pronounce his name.
Yes.
And I'm very surprised that some of his other films aren't in the list at all. And Arrival is the one for me that's definitely at the bottom. So I'll just read my list.
Go for it.
And I might discuss as we go.
Yeah.
So my last on the list is Arrival.
Yep.
Then we go Amelie, The Prestige.
Yep.
Raging Bull. I always struggle with that film. Yep. Princess Bride. Lost in Translation, Good Will Hunting. In the top 3, Titanic.
Nice.
I know that's a weird choice.
No, it's not.
The Terminator. For most of the room. The Terminator. I couldn't put it number 1 because I love Stand By Me.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm sad that that's the very last on this list.
I'm glad somebody's held that film up on the pedestal. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It deserves it, I think. I mean, it's standing the test of time really well.
And it's just a personal choice for me. It just reminds me so much of being a kid and running around and getting into misadventures, and it just really touches me every time I watch it.
Yeah,
whereas some of these other films just don't really hit me at all.
It's great that it got in there in position 100.
I'm glad it's in the list, but it should be way higher up.
Yeah. I think we all discussed that on the episode. Yeah, definitely. So just quickly, guys. So thanks, Jesse. Just quickly, a couple of the members who couldn't be with us today, they've sent me through some of their information, so I'll quickly read that out. So this is from Mr. Damon Quar. He says, okay, minor controversial, I'd say. Was expecting robust discussion on the day and would likely be swayed by others during the podcast. Here are my rankings. As a hard marker, because he's a teacher after all, only the top 3 are in my top 100.
Ooh.
Right? So he's omitting a lot of films, which we'll get to shortly. But number 4 and 5 were tough omissions. But let me tell you, him putting that quote in there, he was just buttering me up, let me tell you, with the 2 films that he left out of his top 100, right? So some justification for the bottom 7 missing in the top 100 will follow, but this is his order, okay? So at number 10, he had Arrival, which he did not recommend, and he gave 2.5 stars. Amelie, which he did not recommend and gave 2.5 stars.
No heart. Sorry.
Number 8, Lost in Translation, 3 stars. Number 7, The Prestige, 3 stars. 6, The Princess Bride, 3 stars. The Terminator, number 5, 3.5 stars. Titanic at number 4, 3.5 stars. And then he gets into his top 3 that he talks about. Number 3, Raging Bull, 4 stars. Number 2, Stand By Me, 4 stars. And number 1, no surprise, Good Will Hunting, 5 stars.
Hey.
For Mr. Kwa. So, we'll get into his omissions when we get a little bit further down the list. But, that was his top 10. So very different.
I was surprised that Titanic was up there for him because he wasn't really into it when we were talking about it.
Yeah. Even though he gives it 3.5, which is not a bad film.
And higher than the Terminator as well.
Yeah.
Qua, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get his response, shall we? When we see him later on. Matt O'Neill as well, Andrew, he sent through his list. Matt enjoyed most of the films in the top 10, but something needs to be discussed right off the bat here, Mr. O'Neill. Number 10, he puts Titanic, which is not that surprising, so did Penny, but 1.5 stars from Mr. O'Neill.
Whoa,
for
that's
Titanic.
harsh.
So this man has no heart, obviously.
And gutless that he didn't show up today to declare that.
That is one of the lowest. That is definitely the lowest ranking of any film in this first 10 films from Matt.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's
that's
rough.
because there's nowhere to go below that. And at 1.5 stars, that's so low. That's saying that's
There's
one of the
1
worst
star,
films of all
And
time.
there's half a star.
But surely
And there's no star.
surely the film has more
There's
merit.
3 options, actually.
Yeah, there are a few options.
And increments in between, but
There's
yeah.
not much room to
I get
go
what you're
below a
saying.
film that achieves so much technically. For me, it's hard to say that it's 1.5 stars.
And that's where it comes down to, like, technical proficiency versus like gut feeling and heart. I love this
Yeah.
film because it just touched me at a particular time in my life. And yeah, that's why it's like, I love doing this podcast, but it's actually quite harrowing because it's like, how do I actually feel about this? Is it a intellectual or an emotional response?
Exactly. And number 9, no surprises as well, Andrew. He gave Amelie, which he gave 2 stars. Arrival was in number 8 with 3 stars, but then he gets very generous from number 7 up. Okay, so The Princess Bride, he gives 4 stars at number 7. Lost in Translation, number 6, 4 stars. Good Will Hunting at number 5, 4 stars. The Prestige at number 4, 4 stars. Stand By Me at number 3, 4 stars. The Terminator at number 2, 5 stars from Mr. O'Neill. And his best here, Jesse, Raging Bull, also 5 stars. I think he holds this film in very, very high regard, is my understanding. I think he puts it like in his personal top 10 or 20 movies of all time.
Do you know if he would say it's his best Scorsese film?
No, you'd have to ask him.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was a lot more generous than Damon with the movies overall, but very harsh on Titanic, yeah. So just quickly, guys, a couple of mentions because we have a number of fans that contact me, but some of them stay in touch with me quite regularly, mainly on Twitter. And so I just want to call out 2 of our fans, one from the UK and one from the States. So I'll quickly read them out. This is from Mehal Desai from the UK. He put number 10, Amelie. Number 9, The Princess Bride. Number 8, Lost in Translation. Number 7, Good Will Hunting. Number 6, Raging Bull. Number 5, The Prestige. Number 4, Arrival. Number 3, Stand By Me. Number 2, The Terminator. Number 1, Titanic.
All right.
Yeah. So, definitely Titanic fan. And he messaged me when he heard that episode, guys. And he goes like, thank God you were on that episode is what he said.
I agree. Because of all the ones I've had to revisit or had the privilege of revisiting since following this version of the podcast, Titanic is what I enjoyed the most revisiting.
Okay, yeah.
Because I always knew I liked it, probably more from a nostalgic standpoint.
Yeah.
But rewatching it made me remember. It was just a sort of enriching experience, just remembering the grandness of it all.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's on someone's.
Isn't it funny how
number
it just separates people? You know what I mean? Like,
that's what's fun about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
what's fun about this whole thing.
I'll move it up my list.
Are you feeling bad?
Yeah, I am.
You're caving.
I am. Not because it's your birthday either. It is. It's hard, isn't it?
Don't feel you need to.
Yeah, definitely not. It would only move up a little bit though, wouldn't it, as well, Penny? So
I mean, you could throw these names down.
where are you
on
feeling
a table.
bad about with Titanic's position?
I do, because
exactly?
when I first saw it, I had such an emotional reaction to it. I wept in that film, and so therefore it really touched me. Maybe that's why I'm sort of.
What's the film that you put above it?
In the next order. So Titanic, then Raging Bull.
Okay. Yeah.
What did I give Raging Bull?
3 stars.
What did I give Titanic?
3.5 stars. No, I'm not going to do that.
Let's switch
I'm not going to
those.
do that. Let's move on.
This is stuffed.
This looks stuffed. Yeah. One more of our fans, guys. Big fan from Chicago in America. We have a lot of listeners in America, guys. I wish more of them would contact me. That's where most of our listeners come from, according to the stats.
Really, that's great.
Bigger than Australia, that's for sure. Yeah, but the Americans are all over it, but they don't let me know. Only a few of them keep in touch with me or keep to themselves for some reason.
Come on,
But,
guys.
Come on,
Reach
guys.
out.
Lift. That's right. But Lisa M. Lilly from Chicago, she's only seen 7 of these 10 films, so she's not exactly like across all of them. But she did put the 7 that she'd seen into an order. She had number 7, Titanic. 6, Amelie. 5, Good Will Hunting. 4, Arrival. 3, Stand By Me. 2, The Princess Bride. 1, The Terminator. And I know for a fact that The Terminator is her favorite movie of all time.
Wow, that's awesome.
She was really excited when she saw that we were doing an entire second episode on her favorite movie. You know, she was all over it and she loved that episode. So, yeah, Lisa M. Lilly, there you go.
So I wonder if that means for Lisa that the other 3 not included were just like nowhere near her list. Like she wouldn't rank them at all.
No, she hasn't seen them.
Oh, hasn't seen. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Sorry.
hasn't seen the movies at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, really surprising with some of those films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe she'll get around to them now. But
Come on, Lisa.
Just quickly as well, Lisa M. Lilly, is that like Michael J. Fox?
Are they the same person?
like people who put like an initial in the middle of their name. And
interesting you say that because I've had to do that for all my social media stuff and my website. It's Jesse T. O'Brien. And people think it's to Brian. Jesse to Brian.
It's
They're
like
what
a
does that
little
mean?
love letter.
Really?
But I had to do it because the Jesse O'Brien was taken. So I had to add the T. I didn't want an underscore, but I regret it. It's just one of these things.
Got
but
it.
I don't know. That might be what Lisa's doing.
You're going to sound like an action TV show from the 80s. Jesse T. O'Brien.
Well, the other thing I hate about it is that a lot of filmmakers try to sound more prestigious by adding that middle initial, and that's definitely not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't want this to appear like this is the official top 10, guys, just because it's mine. Okay, this is just my opinion. All right. But I only don't recommend one of these films straight off the bat. Okay, and that's the one in number 10, which is Amelie. Okay, so which I gave 2 stars and I didn't recommend it. Okay, again on the episode, if people want to hear, I really actually enjoyed the film back in 2001, but it just hasn't aged well. That's my main problem with it. I don't feel it's as relevant now, and it was more annoying than anything else. So that's a number 10, okay? Arrival comes in as well at 3 stars at number 9. Raging Bull, I feel very similar to you about that film, Jesse. I have a big problem with the character that Robert De Niro plays in that movie. Because it has a similar effect to Matt Damon with you in Good Will Hunting. Yeah. And when if you don't associate with the main character in any capacity,
The whole movie's lost.
The whole movie falls apart. So, but I can understand its importance in cinema. It's a Martin Scorsese film from that era. It's very important in film lore. Okay, so identify that. But it's not one of my personal favorites. But I put in position number 8 with 3 stars. The Prestige comes in at number 7 with 3.5 stars. The Princess Bride in number 6 with 3.5 stars. Then we get into the top 5. So Stand By Me, 4 stars. Good Will Hunting, 4.5 stars. Lost in Translation, 4.5 stars. And then, no one's going to be surprised with the top 2 James Cameron's movies. Titanic in number 2 with 5 stars. And The Terminator, which is my favorite of the films that we've looked at, also with 5 stars. So, that's it. So, that was a lot of fun.
That's a lot of lists.
That's a lot of lists.
They all kind of blur together.
Okay, guys, just want to quickly just move the discussion to the top 100 and which films stay and which films go. Okay, so which ones would definitely stay and which ones would definitely go? I'll start with you, Penny.
We're so close to them not being on our list. It's almost actually impossible for me to say with any actual authority. But I think the outlier in that list is Arrival because it is such a new film. So the fact that we're discussing a 2017 list of top 100, it's almost sort of snuck in out of nowhere. So I kind of feel like that doesn't deserve to really be on a list because I don't think it's got it doesn't have the status.
Doesn't have enough time to breathe yet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that probably wouldn't be on there for me. And it's hard to say with the others. I think that they all deserve some kind of spotlight on them in terms of being technically, brilliant or visually pleasing or emotionally, have an emotional connection with them. So I'd probably say that Arrival wouldn't be on there. Yeah,
right.
I haven't seen it.
So the only one you're bumping out is Arrival.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay. So at this stage, the list overall is like you're quite happy with the greatest movies as it's going along.
I think it's really great to revisit these and have a healthy discussion around them.
Yep.
So
Andrew,
omissions?
Yes, or which ones would definitely stay in and which ones would go?
I've got Arrival going out and The Prestige going out, and I would tentatively say Good Will Hunting would go out as well.
Ooh,
What about Titanic?
Sorry.
No, he actually, on the episode, he actually said that he recognizes
I'm
it's
thinking,
Right,
in terms
right.
of greatest films, the status of these films, the clout, do they belong in that 100? Then I think, the rest do. But those three are probably on the outside for me.
Michael.
Yep. So I guess, looking at the list again in terms of most enjoyable films rather than critically acclaimed, I would remove Raging Bull, Lost in Translation, Good Will Hunting, and Arrival. They would not be in my top 100.
Lost in Translation.
Yep. And I would include, The Terminator, The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, The Prestige, Titanic, and Amelie, actually.
Wow. There you
Unless
go.
I watched it again, I might change my mind. But
Yeah. I think you
the way it
have a much
stands,
lesser opinion of Lost in Translation than most of us.
It's not a bad film. It's just in terms of I'm not really drawn to watch it again. It's just it's not an exciting or enjoyable
cool.
experience for me.
Jesse.
I would probably gut most of it. I would keep my top three, Titanic, Terminator, and Stand By Me, but the rest I probably would take off because I've got 12 other of my favorite movies that I think should be on the top 100.
Yeah.
And that's just too many to squeeze in.
We'll get to them.
Yeah, I won't go into them
shortly.
now, but things like Lost in Translation, to expand on that, for me, part of why I've taken some of these off the list is there's better examples from these filmmakers.
Yep.
And for me, Virgin Suicides is a much stronger film from Sofia Coppola. At least it's more emotional. It sort of just connects with me a little more.
Yep.
Lost in Translation is sometimes a little cold, although I think it's a great movie, but it holds you at an arm's length. And the rest, like Raging Bull, Marty's done so many more great films than that one. Princess Bride just didn't really personally connect with me as a kid. I didn't watch it enough.
Yeah.
But those top three I would keep.
If you don't have the nostalgia for The Princess Bride, I think it will, I can
That's why it's so
understand
high in my ranking as well. Just so much nostalgia for myself.
For sure, yeah. Damon Qua is, as we said before, he was as ruthless as yourself, Jesse. He says, so he gave me a couple of notes here. He says, Titanic misses because the Atlantic was the only thing about that movie that had depth, is what he said.
That sounds like something he read in a clever review years ago and stuck to it.
So he's kicked me in the guts already, but he really sticks a knife in with this one. The Terminator misses because it belongs in the top 100 if it was 1984 or 1990.
Ouch.
Time has not been kind enough. It is now dated, and dare I say it, it's a bit tacky. I confess this is part of its charm. Moving right along, I'm sorry, but I couldn't disagree with Damon more on that because I don't think that you can judge a film on its time period because does he understand the budget? Does he understand the importance of the movie overall? I think he's just sort of looking at the datedness of the film and he's judging it on that. So anyway, he's going to listen to this and he's going to give me his opinion.
So
but,
he's wrong, basically.
yeah.
The final word.
He said The Princess Bride he has a soft spot for, but objectively it's a bit cheesy. I recognise it's meant to be and basic. I can't sit it in the top 100, but he has a lot of pleasure watching it. So The Prestige, it's a great film, but I'm left asking how this is a standout. It's just a great run-of-the-mill flick with good performances and it's clever. It's not a mind-boggling story or a twist. You know what I mean? So that's why he throws that out. Lost in Translation, a bit aimlessly drifting along with little substance or depth. Similar to discussion on Real Chat, there was a lot of potential in that film that should have delved a bit deeper. And Amelie felt like a short film made into a feature. A bit tacky, a bit overdone on the anecdotal observations. A bit weird, but in a good way, but also at times in not a good way. And it's dated as well, he says. Which is Damon's problem with most of these films, it seems. They've dated too much for him. Arrival, long-winded and skated the middle of sci-fi and meaningful reflection on life and relationships. As a result, achieves neither. The movie went nowhere. We learnt little of the alien visitation and became predictable somewhat quickly. So, he wasn't a fan of that one at all. I think he ranked it down the bottom. Mr. Matt O'Neill, he said, apart from the last three films in that list, I'm happy for the other ones to appear in anyone's top 100. Raging Bull would be in my top 20 of all time. The Terminator is not far behind. After that, Stand By Me through to The Princess Bride are all films that would appear in a similar position if they were making my personal top 100. He's also put, which we'll talk a little bit about this in a second, but he's also put the films that he would replace Titanic, Amelie, and Arrival with. He's mentioned The Commitments, Dressed to Kill, and Unforgiven as three films that he'd replaced in the top 100.
And they don't seem to be comparative to those specific films. They're just three of his favourites.
Correct.
Right.
That's right. Mihail Desai from the UK said that Titanic, The Terminator, Stand By Me, and Arrival would stay in and everything else would go out. And he mentions these films as ones he would bring in to replace them. Unbreakable, Born on the 4th of July, JFK, Point Break, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Mad Max 2, which is nowhere to be found in this list, Andrew.
Some good ones in there.
Point Break, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yes.
It's a very 80s list. 80s to early 90s.
The films that I personally would say would stay in this top one, my personal top 100 would be obviously The Terminator, Titanic, Lost in Translation, Good Will Hunting, Stand By Me, and The Princess Bride. And the films that would go out would be The Prestige, Raging Bull, Arrival, and Amelie. Just quickly, guys, what are some of the films that you would bring in to replace some of the ones that you've left out? I'll start with you, Penny.
Again, this is so difficult because I think we're talking about a list where we're sort of in the dregs of a list, like the bottom end of the top 100, if that would be the case.
Yep.
Therefore, I can bring in a bunch of films that I really like. And I'm surprised they're not in the top 100. I don't think some of them probably won't be in anybody's top 100 except for mine. So
go for it.
Okay, alrighty. So I guess in terms of Amelie as well, like I would kick that out and put in City of Lost Children like straight away. So that to me is the stronger film from that particular film or set of filmmakers. For me, like one of my favorite films of all time is A Single Man. I think that's an absolutely incredible film. And that would be in my top 10. So maybe that's not the place for this. But in terms of other films that I think should be in there, Panic Room, The Game, Carol, Moonlight, The Apartment. I don't think The Apartment's in there.
Numerous Fincher films there.
Yeah, I'm a big Fincher fan. I think Andrew definitely would agree with that.
I love you.
Yeah. That's a different story.
So you
yeah.
mentioned some
Putting it out
probably
there.
two of his least popular films.
Yeah, well, I think that coming up in the top 100, there is a Fincher film that I don't think really belongs in the top 100.
Okay.
Interesting.
Don't want to spoil that. I don't think The Apartment is listed in the Billy Wilder film, and so that would definitely be in my top 100. The Samurai, To Kill a Mockingbird, Tootsie, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, 12 Monkeys, Infernal Affairs, What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Wow.
Truly, Madly,
There's
Deeply.
a lot of omissions.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
So for me, I think these films for me would be further up the list, so not in the top 100. But for me, and like critically looking at this list, it definitely has a particular theme, and there's not a lot of for me. Like so for me, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, well, I would definitely put in my top 100 films of all time because I think it's a purely delightful film.
Obviously,
and I think that a lot of this top 100 list is very academic. It's very much a technically proficient, intellectually observational list. So for me, Raging Bull is a great film, but I don't like it because I don't connect with it because of the heart of it. I don't like Jake LaMotta. Yeah. But technically proficient film, yes, it does deserve to be in the top 100.
Like some great choices there, Penny. Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll have some very healthy discussions over the coming months and years.
Can I ask you if you got the opportunity to bring one of those films in that Real Chat gives the Real Chat treatment to? Have you thought about which one you would want us to cover more than, considering that they're not going to be done as part of this series? So
we've actually had the pleasure to actually discuss one of them, which is Moon. So I think that's definitely in my top. That'll be closer to my sort of top 10, top 20. Any of those?
Yeah. So any of those ones.
I'd actually like to hear what the table would think about What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good one.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will
Seen
take
it
that
many
information and we'll see what I can do with that down the track. All right.
Interesting.
So, yeah, Mr. McCaskill, Andrew.
I'll add two as a taster.
Yep.
I'll add American Psycho in there.
Of course you would.
And I mean, because this is a list that's very American heavy, and I'm not going to choose like Ingmar Bergman's Persona. It's going to not really fit into this kind of type of list. So yeah, like good, strong American cinema. So American Psycho be one, and Starship Troopers would certainly fit into
really?
100.
I'm so glad you said that. I didn't realize you would love that movie, but I love that movie.
A lot of people do.
Such a underrated film.
For sure.
First Blu-ray I ever bought was
Same
Starship
with me.
Troopers. Yeah.
Actually, first DVD actually.
Oh, okay. I went to a Blu-ray because of your description of what Blu-ray is.
Oh yeah,
I think
it's a beautiful thing.
Most of us could do a little bit more Paul Verhoeven in our film
absolutely.
collections. That's right.
That's got Basic Instinct in there as well. Like, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Michael Hadjion.
Yep, I'm just going to say two films, older films. So the first one, which if you've listened to the back catalogue of Real Chat, you'd know my favourite film is Rosemary's Baby from 1968. So glaring omission from my top 100 if we're
Makes
doing
sense,
it for me.
definitely.
That's not in the Empire top 100?
No, it's not.
No, I'd agree with you,
and
Michael.
just
Yeah,
absolute
absolutely.
incredible film in every respect. So,
And by all means, go back and listen to me and Michael talk about...
I could go on and on about it, and I will. No, but you can go back and listen to the podcast.
Have you seen Mother?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should, because it's a quite similar, and Yeah, similar themes, and obviously a big influence on that film.
I noticed on the Astor calendar they were paired, Rosemary's Baby and Mother. So
that'd
I thought,
be a heavy night's viewing, I tell you. But yeah, I'm very interested to hear what you think about that film.
I'll have to go check it out.
And there was a remake of Rosemary's Baby last year with Zoe Saldana, a TV remake.
That's right. It was like set in France or something.
Sort of a
miniseries.
Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. Again, I'm a bit scared to, just because I hold the original in such high regard. But
have you read the book?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's a great book as well.
Great book. Yeah, it was interesting to see. I'd seen the movie first and then read the book, but there was slight differences in there. But great book as well. So.
Agreed.
Yeah. The other one is a movie called The Sweet Smell of Success. I'm not sure if people here have seen that.
Sort of the Astor.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen that many times. So yeah, Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, old film sort of about a powerful sort of newspaper columnist that uses his powers of influence for evil instead of good, and it's really well made film, just cinematically brilliant. So
good one.
Yeah, that would be in my top 100 as well.
Good choices there, Michael, for sure. Jesse.
So I've got a lot of favorite movies, and can I just rattle off quickly my list? But I won't elaborate except on two of them, my two absolute favorites. But these are some of the ones I would have put on there. I would have put The Omen rather than The Exorcist, West Side Story, Planet of the Apes, Batman 89, so influential. Catch Me If You Can, great Spielberg overlooked film. The Warriors, On the Waterfront, Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, great movie about filmmaking. Wizard of Oz, I'm very surprised it's not on there.
Yeah, me too.
Annie Hall, Virgin Suicides, even some recent ones, a couple of years like Boyhood is a very significant achievement, and Sicario as well is a better film than Arrival, and that's not on the list.
Yeah, good choice.
But my two I'd like to talk about are Braveheart. Why the hell is that not on there?
Yeah.
That's surprising, isn't it?
That's not. I can't believe that's
it's
not
on the list. And in 100 films, Braveheart's not there. That's baffling to me.
Is it the Mel Gibson factor?
No, because Polanski wasn't affected by that.
It might be the Mel Gibson factor. The only Mad Max film on the list, spoilers everybody, is Fury Road. So, right,
and that's because it's Empire's list and its readers who the list is a little affected by the readers recent memories.
The demographic as well.
Definitely.
But Braveheart to me is just easily my top 5. Sometimes it's my number 1. My top 5 alternates. Yeah, I love Braveheart, always have. And the other one is Close Encounters.
Yeah, big omission.
Is not in there, and that's...
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well.
That's a movie I can rewatch over and over again. It's just a brilliant piece of filmmaking.
So is there one that stands out, Jesse, if Real Chat had the opportunity, or is it really any of those? Because there's some big ones there.
Oh, I could talk... Out of those two, you mean? Yeah, I could talk about either of them for 3 hours.
Yeah. And I think, Wizard of Oz is a massive omission. That one really needs to be
considering what it's done, it's such a big part of film history.
Yeah.
And
every generation has watched that and loved that film. It just seems to kind of keep going.
I think I missed you and Michael just quickly. Is there a film that you would love to do on Real Chat that's not part of the series?
Probably there's so many, but I'll throw Dead Man into the mix.
Yeah, good one. And Michael, just
Penny just said it in my mind. What's it in Gilbert Grape? Just a film I'd forgotten about, but I just saw it so much as a child.
Surprising omission.
Incredible. Yeah.
I'll just quickly add, guys, that I've had 4 films, but this is probably the most controversial of all of them because 3 of them are by the same filmmaker. But these are
Fincher.
Fincher.
Okay.
No, and he doesn't have any films in this top 100 list. But I would actually bring 3 of his in to my personal top 100, right? The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs, all M. Night Shyamalan in his era.
Yeah, totally.
Because
I did not see that coming.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree.
I'd bring all 3 of those films in my personal 100. All 3 of them come in, and we're not looking at any M. Night Shyamalan in this top 100 list. So I would bring those 3 in.
That is, it's a massive. Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Sixth Sense is the one which is sort of like that probably should be there.
For sure, yeah.
So, and the other one, Michael, you'll love this, is Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Of course. Yeah, massive film.
Yeah, big fan.
That is surprising.
You and me, gave it a lot of praise when we looked at it in the early days of Real Chat. But Andrew would probably disagree, but
it wouldn't be the first one I'd grab.
Just quickly, guys, just a quick director tally. 2 filmmakers that we've looked at have 2 films already in the top 10. That's Rob Reiner with Stand By Me and The Princess Bride, and James Cameron with Titanic and The Terminator. So Jean-Pierre Jeunet with 1, Gus Van Sant with 1, Sofia Coppola with 1, Christopher Nolan with 1, Denis Villeneuve, I think is how you pronounce his name, Jesse, with 1, and Martin Scorsese also with 1. And how's this? Only 2 actors have appeared in more than one film that we've looked at so far, right? Scarlett Johansson, who's appeared in Lost in Translation and The Prestige. The other gentleman, Mr. William Paxton, in both Titanic and The Terminator, very briefly, of course. He's the only other actor to appear more than once. So I thought I'd better bring those two up because, we'll keep the tally going as we go along with this list, and we'll see which actor appears more than anybody else as we go along as well.
I think Bill Paxton has a good chance considering James Cameron. He's always there with him, and James Cameron's got so many in this list.
There's some more James Cameron coming up. That's right, and Paxton will reappear. That's right. But just quickly, guys, just want to get your winner and your runner up for just a couple of best ofs. Okay, so starting just quickly with the Penny Jelly Award. Okay, so what do you think has been the best screenplay of the films that we've looked at so far? Maybe, a winner and a runner-up. Have you had
absolutely. Yeah. So I chose Good Will Hunting and The Terminator, both for very good reasons. I'd like to continue on with that. So out of that top 10, there are 5 adaptations and 1 historic kind of rework. So that was Titanic, and then 5 other adaptations. So that really leaves only a couple of original screenplays. So for me, Good Will Hunting, I would choose that as as kind of a theatrical script that found its way to the screen, I think in a really great way. I really like the story of how it was written by Affleck and Damon, and so I kind of really buy into the backstory as well as the actual what you actually see on the screen. So for me, that is a good screenplay and a good story. And then Terminator is a blow by blow how to make a film. So it basically sets everything up and knocks everything down in the exact right order. So for me, that's kind of like a bible of how to write a screenplay. So and that's why it featured so highly upon my list as well as being a good film. And yes, it has dated, but it's still definitely something very interesting to watch. So for me, those are the 2 best picks of screenplays.
I'd say that maybe Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation for an honourable mention, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I didn't include that is it came down to what am I going to sit down and watch over and over and over again? And for me, Lost in Translation, I do like it. I obviously really like it and I enjoy it, but it's not that it feels like it's a very head film. So I have to sort of be in the right mood. And it'd be the same for Arrival and The Prestige as well. You sort of feel like you have to be really switched on. And I'm always switched on when I'm watching films, but in terms of like just that kind of pure pleasure and delight of not being totally surprised, but then kind of really enjoying that ride over and over again, for me it was Good Will Hunting and The Terminator. Thanks a lot, Penny, for that. The Andrew McCaskill Awards, just quickly, the original score or soundtrack, Andrew.
Controversial to choose a score and a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So most interesting and most effective score, I think, was for Arrival by Johan Johansson.
Very sad what happened.
Yeah, amazing.
Since we spoke about it.
Amazing that he's no longer with us because he's.
Oh, what?
Did you not hear this, Penny?
He departed.
He was in the Oscars recap of the.
Oh, he was too.
The Departed.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the actual how he died or what the explanation was.
We don't know yet.
Yes, but young guy and just becoming a real talent in the industry. So that's the standout score. Yeah, standout score. Yeah, very interesting score, very innovative, and very creepy and effective in the film. And the soundtrack is for Lost in Translation. I just thought that the use of music, use of songs, mixed with Brian Roselle's kind of score. It's just a very evocative soundtrack, and it's so crucial to the film. It kind of the soundscape is almost 50% of the kind of visceral quality of that film. Maybe an honourable mention for James Horner's Titanic, maybe?
Can I just say
and I'd like to make an honourable mention to
on the soundtrack side of it, Adam, when you played back the Terminator with all of that 80s music in it, I was loving that. I thought that was absolutely incredible. That was
that's how I put it immediately after you were doing it. Yeah. You were doing your own interpretation.
Which I believe I took over from you.
Yeah.
But the actual 80s club music,
the band,
I was really into that music.
Yeah,
I was like,
awesome.
put that on now.
You want to hear more of it?
Yeah, absolutely. The 80s are back.
There is a soundtrack release for it, Penny, and you can buy that at your local JB Hi-Fi.
You can. That's absolutely right. And it was Andrew's idea for me to do that as well. He goes, "You must do that. Like, you must play little snippets of the songs."
Well,
to isolate
really
the genius that was that.
It's brilliant. I enjoyed it much more. I thought, this is going to be a bunch of cheese, but it was actually really enjoyable.
Honorable mention, The Terminator. There you go.
Several.
Cinematography, Andrew?
2 or 1 for the cinematography?
Well, I'd sort of have the standout and then like a runner-up. And then I'd normally throw in an honourable mention.
That's right. Raging Bull is the standout.
Okay, yep. So Michael Chapman.
That film, pretty much every frame of that film is like a greatest shots of American 20th century. It's just that stark black and white. It's just iconic in every way. Yeah, just a staggering looking film.
Yep.
And then the runner-up would be Lance Accord's Lost in Translation. I think,
Okay.
a very different look to, obviously, Raging Bull was very soft and dreamy kind of film. And, the use of celluloid in that, the grain, and it's just the lighting, it's just very pastel heavy, and just a very dreamy work, which I think is, again, with the soundscape of the music, just works so powerfully.
I'm going to throw in Wally Pfister's The Prestige as the honourable mention as well.
Definitely, yeah. Wally hasn't shot a bad film, including his soft porn from the early days.
You made that joke last time.
Tend to bring that up quite a lot.
I've looked over it.
I seem to think you must have
recently.
seen this sophomore.
By the way, you were talking about what film he directed on the last episode.
Yes.
I wasn't here, but I was listening, and it was Transcendence, which I did see.
Yeah,
And none of you had seen it, and it is awful.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Wally
You can
Pfister's
confirm.
debut. Oh, it's not good, not worth watching.
But you should get the Fister box set. That is...
Wow.
Local JB Hi-Fi.
Should I just Google that right now?
The Jesse O'Brien Award for the directing standouts, Jesse, was this something that was easy to do, or...
It was pretty easy because, obviously Martin Scorsese, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I think as we get further up the list, he's worth talking about a little more, but he's only got one in this list, in this portion of the list, and it's not my favorite of his. So
Yep.
obviously James Cameron, who has two, so does Reiner, but James Cameron, you cannot deny the gusto of this man. And Terminator and Titanic, two great examples of filmmaking at different points in his career. To me, it's really the start and the end of his greatness, because anything after that, well, his one film after that is just no good at all.
Yeah.
But Titanic, you like it or love it, you can't deny that this guy comes from this old school of filmmaking where he's going to try everything. He's going to shoot for the moon. And with Titanic, he made the biggest film of all time. And to me, that's just he's such a cool pioneer. And he really, you can't say that he's a bad director.
Oh, no, definitely not. So Marty Scorsese and James Cameron were your two...
Definitely.
Your two picks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a lot to say about Marty in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to give a special mention or honourable mention to Sofia Coppola for Lost in Translation, personally. I don't know if you guys would agree, but that would be a standout directing performance, I think, from what we've looked at so far. I know, Michael, I sprung this on you just the other day, but the Michael Hadjion Award, which is for acting. I don't know why I chose that in particular, but I don't know.
Somebody had to have it. So, whatever.
No, but
Fifth wheel. Yep. So are we doing actor and actress?
Whatever you like. Whatever you like. Whatever been the standout performances.
Okay.
you think.
Well, I'll do actor and actress. So actor. So the award would go to a few of these are going to be quite controversial, but what the hell? It'd go to Hugh Jackman for The Prestige. Actually, I think that's actually.
I did not expect that one. Yeah.
His best performance, certainly, and I just think it was fantastic in that film. It's sort of, we know he's a showman, and he sort of plays it up to a T in the film, but he shows a real good, dark side as well, and is quite a layered performance. So I thought that was really good. And the runner-up would be Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. I think just he has to get an honourable mention. He's a fantastic actor with an amazing career, and that even though I'm not a huge fan of the film, that is one of his standout performances. So absolutely, he has to get that.
I think I gushed all over Robin Williams on that episode.
Yeah. In terms of actress, unfortunately, these films had a lot of them had sort of quite a male centric cast. So
really, I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, no, which is probably probably a testament of the time. A lot of them in the 80s and 90s. So out of those limited options, and this will be really controversial, I guess I got to go. Award goes to Audrey Tautou for Emily. Look, and again, I haven't seen it recently, but I enjoyed the film at the time. It was quite an unusual, quirky performance. I didn't she was an unknown before that, so I guess it was memorable for me. And then runner up, even more controversially because I didn't even like the film very much, is Amy Adams in Arrival. I guess I can't really, although she's a bit cold, I think it was a pretty good performance, but there's sort of limited other options for me to select from in this set of films.
No, there's some different ones than maybe some of the ones that would be expected. That's for sure.
Which is a bit unfortunate. There's just there weren't many to choose from.
Can I just throw in one? I always throw in my little 2 cents at the end here. Bill Murray in Lost in Translation was a standout for me personally. I thought he was fantastic in that film. So I think that they're fair opinions otherwise. Yeah, definitely. Just quickly, guys, the Matthew O'Neill Award, he gave me quickly which films had the standout marketing from his opinion. And he says, when it comes to the marketing of these films, Titanic is streets ahead. From the smash hit single, that's just the tip of the iceberg. through to the constant museum exhibitions he mentions. Titanic, the film, had closely tied itself to a historic event like no other film had before. For many people, Titanic is a film first and a real-life disaster second. The Terminator is something that grew with the second installment. The other films are quite subdued in their marketing output. I wish more had been done with The Princess Bride and The Prestige, both films which deserve more coverage upon release in my eyes. So Matt obviously reckons that James Cameron's films are the marketing standouts from the ones we've looked at so far. And I'm just going to quickly throw in my award, which is for the Blu-ray release, because that's something that I sort of take charge on, because most people have moved away from physical media, except for you, Jesse.
Yep, I still enjoy it. Still double.
Again, it's going to sound biased, but the Blu-ray for Titanic is the standout film of all the ones that we've looked at, the amount of stuff that's on it. I mean, it's got an hour of deleted footage, all in the film quality, numerous documentaries, numerous commentaries. It's overkill, really, for fans. Honourable mention is going to go to The Princess Bride as well, which is really good, like retrospective material created for that film. So if anything, if you're going to go purchase them, for people that still do buy them like me, they're the two from the two films that we've looked at.
What about honourable mention for Lost in Translation for making you believe it doesn't exist?
Indeed, I know. I was so wrong.
Blu-ray.
I was so wrong. Which I did work out. The fact that I couldn't find it is because it's disappeared. You can still go on eBay and you can track it down from various sources.
So it's been discontinued.
It's discontinued. You can't find it in JB. You can't find it on their website or anything like that. So Lost in Translation does exist on Blu-ray here in Australia, but you just got to go dig a little bit deeper to find it now. So discontinued, yeah.
It sounded like an apology.
It did, yeah. No, I'll take it as that.
Yeah.
So just the last thing I want to touch on before we finish up here, guys, is there are currently 38 films in Real Chat's Hall of Fame. Okay, so the additions from the films that we've looked at here are Stand By Me, Raging Bull, Good Will Hunting, Arrival, Lost in Translation, The Princess Bride, and The Prestige. So a large amount of them. Okay, so there's a couple of films just before we finish up here, guys, which I'd like a little bit of a reevaluation, because Real Chat's moved a long way since the early days. Okay, so Michael, Commando didn't make the Real Chat Hall of Fame because of your good self, like back in the day. Is it still out?
Yeah, that's not shifting. It's not the sort of film that upon reflection you go, actually, that was amazing.
Michael Hadjion has single-handedly kept Commando out of the Real Chat Hall of Fame, but that's fair enough. But
I get why people enjoy it, but it's just a crap film.
Do you go any other thoughts on Commando?
That's one of my earliest memories of listening to this podcast. Because Andrew was on it, I knew Andrew, so I started listening, and I was like, "That's so much fun." But I'd never seen the movie, so I watched it because of it, and I had a lot of fun after listening to you guys talk about it. And there's still drums in that score.
Oh yeah,
so
the score is cool.
Yeah.
But if you want sort of meathead fun, I mean, you got just so many other better options like Predator or Total Recall. It's just kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Andrew, any thoughts on that? I know you gave your opinions on the episode. So.
Oh, Commando, look, it just puts a smile on my face when I think about it. And that's a sign of a great piece of art.
Penny?
I haven't seen Commando and didn't listen to your original podcast because I hadn't seen it, so I didn't want to spoil it. And it's still on a list somewhere. I might get around to it,
one day.
But maybe might not after hearing Michael's.
I really want this reevaluated, because I really feel this is out of place. All right, this is not in our Hall of Fame. An American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah, I like that.
That should be in there for sure.
Great horror.
We all, originally you and me, Andrew, we sung its praises. But it's not in there. Yeah, I just want to know, like, does anyone dispute that actually being bumped in? I really feel it should be.
Horror's not really my genre of choice, but because it treads that kind of fine line. When I did actually see it, because I avoided it for years and years and years, and when I did actually see it, I was like, yeah, it's quite good. But for me, it's probably not in my top 100.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I watched this again also recently because I thought I should go back and check it out. Because when I saw it as a kid, I was just like, I kind of liked it. And then my parents really liked Bob Hoskins, so I took my parents along to see it, and they were kind of like, what the hell was that? And then upon rewatch, I was like, I want to like it, but it just doesn't get me in the heart.
Okay. Yep.
I don't remember it enough. I've been told recently to rewatch it, and that actually stands up really well, but I haven't revisited recently. Crazy.
Michael and I rewatched it when we looked at it back in the early days of Real Chat, and we both held it in very high
Loved
regard.
it as a kid, loved it as an adult. Love it.
Andrew, do you think that, because you, I think, wouldn't have put it in there, but do you think that it doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
It can't go in.
Andrew. If we had a video of this podcast, your face at that moment. Amazing.
Mad Max, the original. I don't care if this goes in or not, personally.
I want it there.
Really?
Yeah.
I love number 2. Number 1's a hard slog for me.
Really?
Yeah.
haven't revisited it recently enough to really, offer an input.
Okay.
Yeah, same kind of thing. I think probably it would stand out at the time, but
Yeah, I don't think I can bring that in. Clue the movie, just quickly.
I love Clue.
Never seen it.
So do I.
It's amazing.
Okay, Jesse can't speak for that one. Michael?
It wasn't. I mean, I remember enjoying it as a kid, but it wasn't a real go-to one. So I haven't seen it enough times to formulate a good opinion of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Andrew, I don't think.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't put there.
Last one, guys. It's a more recent one that we've looked at. Titanic. I don't think I can because Matt just holds it down so.
Yeah.
He holds it down.
You're not turning 1.5 stars.
I can't. Matt's too involved with us now, as in it can't be done, unfortunately. Although
Knowing Matt too, I know he's quietly proud of that fact that he's keeping it up.
He doesn't even believe it anymore. He's just like,
Let's just hold it off.
Oh god. Okay, poor Titanic. So I can bring in American Werewolf in London. Commando, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Mad Max, and Clue and Titanic can't get in. They can't squeeze into the Real Chat Hall of Fame. But Penny, you will be happy to know that since we last spoke about it, Moon, because remember we did a couple of episodes,
Yes.
Moon and Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, the remake, didn't make it.
I'm surprised.
but Moon for sure is in the Real Chat Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
fantastic.
So, all right.
Yeah.
That's the end, guys. So thank you very much for coming along and for this special. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. I'm looking forward to doing a few more of them as we go, through the next 10, etc., etc. But just quickly, where to find us? You can find us at realchat.com.au. Also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And we have a Patreon account as well and iTunes reviews as well, guys. Make sure you get a few more of them. We're falling a little bit behind with them. So any more that you can do for us with that would be very much appreciated. So we look forward to the next 10. Some good films coming up.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you later.